Good morning, and welcome to this week's episode of Monday Motivation. This is the motivational mindset one. And my name's Jenny Kovacs. If you've never ever watched any of these before, I very bizarrely get up every Monday, bright and early, and at 7 a.m. live in the UK, here in London, I stream and I share a little nugget of motivation. Now, these nuggets have been designed not just for my motivational pleasure, but for yours. And they're really designed to motivate your morning, your Monday, even your week. And as we descend into the end of February, your month too. So whether you're watching this live or on the replay, do type a comment below, say hi, and see how you go. You know, see what resonates with you, see what you like the look of, and share with your friends. That's the most important thing to me, that this message of motivation gets out. So already hot off the blocks, we've got Alan saying good morning, Jenny, and Ian saying hey up, good morning, welcome to another awesome week. And I know that they're both in the UK, especially Ian, because hey up is something that he says in Yorkshire and something that they all say in Yorkshire. So thank you for joining. As I say, I would love you to share this, and the best place that you can share this actually is on your timeline with your family, your friends, your acquaintances, even your clients, because you never know when somebody could use a little spur of motivation. I know that sometimes on social media we can paint the world as pretty and paint everything as wonderful. However, sometimes we just need a little bit of motivation. So this week, what's the topic for this week and why? Now, the topic, weirdly, is motivation, but motivational mindset. And the reason why this is so passionate, or I'm so passionate about this, is because I observe a lot of people. First of all, I observe myself all the time, every time. I'm always noticing about what I'm doing in life, which is working out for me, working out for other people, and also what other people do in life, which makes them so great at this. And this could be anything from being able to make the perfect food, to grow plants, to get out there and stand out in the world so that they're more visible, to being able to master their finances, to being a relationship guru, you know, and being able to conduct either personal relationships or professional relationships. And I noticed that there are things that are different about people that are good at stuff than there are maybe some of the other people who are still maybe on the path to mastery. So I'm reminded, as I speak of motivation, of just a few weeks back, you know, and there are some motivational people watching this right now for sure. Alan is one of them. Alan has got an amazing life story. If you don't know Alan's amazing life story, you know, every now and then in the Visibility Vibes Tribe, which is the Facebook group where you can post, because it's a closed group and only the people in the group see what you post. So in that group, every now and then, I encourage the Vibers, as you guys affectionately called, to share an introduction to themselves. Now, some of them are just getting started in business and looking at growing the business while they do life, consultancy, work, you know, a day job. Some of them have been going in business for a while and they're looking to expand and grow, not just the business and the finance of the business, but the people that they reach out to. And then some of them have been, some of the Vibers in there have been going great guns and have been expanding and are still on that trajectory. And there's a couple of seven-figure business owners in there too. So there are a mixture of people, and the reason that I bring this up on a Monday Motivation is that one of the things that I didn't expect when starting my own business in 2010 was the sheer kind of like the thoughts, the mindset, the processes that many people would need to go to, myself included. I thought starting a business was starting a business, learning how to do things, you know, Googling on YouTube, trying to work out how it all sticks together, trying to cobble it together. Hey Celeste, thanks for joining. I thought it was all about that kind of thing, all about trying to work it out and fit it together. But I'll tell you the honest truth, which I think still stands true for me today, is that starting a business is like one of the biggest personal development lessons that you can ever take. It shows you the areas that you do need focus on, because you get the feedback in the results that you get. It shows you where your mindset might need a tune-in, or sort of tuning up or toning up. I'm just going to grab a sip of water. It shows you who you are and more of who you can be, who you're being in that moment and who you're stepping into. So this subject I'm really passionate about. It's really, it's a passionate subject close to my heart. And not only do I see this in the entrepreneurial space, I also see it when I coach execs as well, because I am a exec coach too. So I go into a lot of very big name brands, and I run trainings, coachings and consultings, and in there you get to see another side of the people who are doing really well for themselves and the people who aren't. So what I'm going to share isn't a way to beat yourself up, because that's not what Monday is about. I'm going to share actually from my own system, the Vibe system, 5 ways in which we can have a look at our own motivation to move forward. Okay, so big gulp of water and I shall continue. So a few weeks back, I actually interviewed somebody on this very page, Murray Hambro. He doesn't even know that I'm talking about him right now this morning. So if you find the video, you can feel free to comment underneath and say, Murray, Jenny's talking about you again. You see, I find Murray's life story really inspirational. And I've known about Murray for a few years because he's married to somebody that I used to work with in financial services. So I've known of his story for years. And in a way, I've looked at his story, 4 years and just been in awe about how motivated he is as a person. And the reason that I love his story is because he doesn't try to be motivational, he just is. The short version of Murray Hambro's story is that he was in Afghanistan in 2010, doing his job as a British soldier, and was on his way back from a very busy day of kind of taking soldiers backwards and forwards and doing his kind of business as usual, when unfortunately he drove over a device which blew him about 40 feet up into the air. And as a result of that, he lost his feet. Okay, he is now a double amputee from the knees downwards. Yet, since 2010 to now, very quickly afterwards, he decided that, well, what have I got to lose here? I'm just going to learn how to walk and walk quickly. Now I'm going to get married, so I'm going to learn how to walk so I can walk down the aisle unaided. Then the next thing was, I used to really ride motorbikes and everyone keeps telling me how I won't be able to do it. There must be a way I can do it. And off he did that. And it went on and on, where to now he's a personal trainer. Can you imagine having a personal trainer and you're like, oh, I'm tired, I can't go on. This is too hard, this is too difficult. And having Murray to say, well, what's stopping you? And despite popular beliefs of personal trainers that you may have, he's not a kind of boot camp shouting down your neck, come on, get up. He's like, okay, so if you can't do this way, how can you do it? It's very gentle and motivational energy. So if you haven't seen or heard his story, do scroll down. I'm trying to remember when it was originally posted, but do scroll down on this page and you'll see Murray's story. Incredibly motivational. And some of the things that he unwittingly did to be motivated actually align with some of the steps that I'm going to share with you right now. So the first thing is, it's like, and I kind of alluded to it a moment ago, I call this with my clients the pill of noticing. And it's funny because this week and last week, and for quite a lot of February, to be truthful, I have been revamping something that I've been doing in my business, and as I was kind of looking and revamping it, I decided, actually, let's tear the page up, let's recreate it, and I want more people to get access to the Vibe system that I share. So some of my clients are in something called an inner circle, and in that inner circle, I go in and share more kind of like behind the scenes stuff. I share a lot about what I'm up to. I share a lot about some amazing things that have happened that I don't share publicly, and I don't share with people that aren't my clients, just because I want to be obviously respectful to the space. And I would love more people to have access to this information. So as I've been working on those bits and pieces, it occurred to me that some people are quite happy with calling this mindset stuff, and other people are more of the thoughts become things, and I want to say it is the same thing. It's just languaged in a different way. How you think about stuff, how you think about stuff right now definitely affects your future, whether that future is in the next minute, the next hour, the next few hours, the next week, days, years, or whatever. So first things first, when you are looking at being, and this is kind of like a bonus, but when you're looking at motivation, notice the areas where you are motivated and notice the areas where you aren't. Now, this is a very simple check to do. So there'll be things that you want to do, things you're excited about doing. When it comes to the actual time of doing it, how do you feel inside? Do you feel a bit like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited, I want to start, and you get started and you don't even have breakfast, you don't go out of the house, and you just fall into it? Now, many business owners tell me that they're passionate about what they do, and then they beat themselves up because when they go to do something within their business, they say, but I procrastinate and I put it off and everything else like this. And I think a lot of us go unconsciously into our day and into our work and into all the things that we do because we just go into it. And Celeste is saying it is the same thing. Absolutely, Celeste. With the clients that I work with, there are people that say, no, it's not mindset. I believe in the law of attraction, so I believe that I'm manifesting it. And they absolutely refute mindset. There are other people that will say, oh no, it's a bit of thoughts become things and a bit of mindset. And other people will say, no, I live my life in a very different way. And one of the things that I hear most from my private clients is, yes, but I live my life in a different way. They say I'm not religious, but I'm quite spiritual. I believe in things that you might not know about. Well, test me on that, because there's a lot of stuff that I share behind the scenes. So different people will either refute stuff or accept stuff. And it's normally around the wording and how they feel about it. So what was I saying there? So I was talking about really noticing where you are, where you are going into something and you're very motivated and where you're not. And I know this sounds weird because it's you that you're looking at, but the reason why to do this and then to do this next step, write it down. You don't have to write War and Peace. If you're not a big writing person or a big journal person, just put it in bullet points. You could say Monday, motivation. You know what? There was one morning when I was feeling ill, and I remember thinking, gosh, I don't want to have to cancel this Monday motivation. I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway and see how I go. And you know what? In the time that I was actually streaming, I didn't feel ill at all. And interestingly, even though I didn't feel well, I just went, you know what? I'm going to do it. There was no, oh, I want my bed, or oh, not today, or, and in fact, on bank holiday Mondays here in the UK, when it is a holiday and I don't stream, I'm like, oh, shall I just do one anyway? And I used to, but I realised that many people were enjoying their bank holiday. So the first thing to do is to notice what, which things motivate you. And when I say this, really, just kind of cut it down. I'm about to go and have a shower. Am I motivated to have a shower? Yes, no. Most mornings. I am about to go and write something, an email to my list. Am I motivated to do that? I am about to tinker about with my website. Am I motivated to do that? I'm about to go in and host a sales meeting if you're an employee and one of my kind of salesy people there. Am I motivated to do that? I have a member of staff who's not performing and I want to help them in their performance. Am I motivated to do that? Or am I finding myself kind of eye rolling and going, oh, not this person? This is important because it allows you to see what your barometer is for motivation, and then if you're not feeling motivated, it allows you to show the differences, and then you can start to map out what motivation feels like for you, because I can't tell you what that is, and what kind of demotivation feels like for you, and start to forge ahead. Now, 5 things that you can look for, do to help with the motivation. So the first thing is, so you've noticed the inside and the kind of like the motivation and the not motivation. So the first thing is, are you motivated internally? or externally. What do I mean by that? There are some people who, and there's a whole sliding scale. On the one side of the scale, you will be motivated purely by yourself. Like, come on, I can do this. And that will be the thing that gets you motivated. And on the other end of the spectrum, you'll be the person that's motivated by others. So if you've got a deadline to hit and it's going to affect you, and you're on this side of the spectrum, that's not going to like bolster you forward into hitting the deadline. But if you know that other people are relying on you or reliant on you, then that's going to drive you forward. Now, I say that there's this side of the spectrum and this side of the spectrum. Of course, we can be anywhere in between. In neuro-linguistic programming, they call it others-driven or self-driven. I tend to be more others-driven. A lot of the stuff I do, a lot of my motivations, a lot of my big whys can be based on other people. Not praise, not glory, but as I often say on my Facebook Lives, on my videos and on my marketing stuff, that the reason that I get out of bed every morning is because I want you to be visible. I don't actually feel like I need to be visible, even though I am. And a lot of the reason why I am is so that you can too. Can you see how my drivers come back to other people, you know? If I love doing Facebook Lives, you know, to be fair, but if I never had to go out and be visible and could only ever help people to stand out, to shine, to be able to get out there in the world, get their work out in the world, I would be really happy with that internally, okay? So I tend to be more others driven. There will be certain things and certain circumstances where I am more driven, like self-driven. And this is the reason why to notice, first of all, what motivates you and what doesn't motivate you, because then you can start that journey yourself. It's not a one and done thing, you know. I'm not going to mislead you and make you think, oh, put 5 minutes in the calendar, do it and it's done. You will keep going through different levels as you do different things in life, as you discover things, because a lot of the stuff we do becomes a pattern. And when that becomes a pattern, we don't even notice it anymore. Like getting angry, getting happy. When something makes you really happy, I imagine that you don't think, hold on a second, this thing's making me really happy. So happy that I'm going to feel light in my body, and now I'm going to smile and my eyes are going to widen up and I'm going to feel so happy. It doesn't work like that. It feels like it goes into automatic pilot. And this is the same for things that we sort of other emotions and things that we have mastered over the years without realising, like anger. Like, how do we allow the person that drives slowly in front of us to really annoy us? Well, we've built that pattern over the years and we've built that up, so we now go into automatic pilot. So the noticing part stops us from being unintentional, and then the first part that I've just described helps you to really kind of understand where the emotion's coming from. So then the next thing is like, well, are we going to make an impact with this way of being? And half of the battle of the motivation, whether you come from a thought place, a manifestation place, a thinking place, or whatever place, is what kind of impact do you want to make? And I always say with this is definite start with the end in mind stuff. So when we try and put our whole life in, I want to make a difference in the world, can you see how that's a huge, big, almost responsibility sitting on our shoulders? And there are different elements of that that can sometimes stop us from getting where we want to be. So breaking down, you know, cooking the dinner, oh, I don't fancy it, you know, and you find that 365 days of the year, or, you know, going to a party, yes, I fancy that, you know. These different tasks that we do every day, it could be love, money, relationships, health, well-being, work, career, or anything else. These different things that we find doing, when we take a look at where we're going and what we're doing moving forward, then we get to decide how we want to be. I love the comment that Celeste has put there. I need to start wearing my glasses more. Okay, and she said, can't be bothered to get annoyed with other drivers. I did once, not anymore. I was the same. If I tell you a secret on a public Facebook Live, there was a time in my life that I used to get really, really, really bad road rage. This is going back, gosh, nearly 2 decades ago. So I'm glad to say it's in my distant past. But I used to get really bad road rage. It made no sense because in all other things, placid and you know, I'm the most placid, laid back, chilled back person. But there are a few things that if are done, like done around me, to me, in front of me, that I don't tolerate. One is I don't tolerate bad behaviour to other people. And again, because of my others driver, I'm more likely to say something about other people being mistreated than I am for myself. I'll think for myself and then I'll think, how shall I say this? Whereas, you know, if it's happening right now in front of me without thinking, I'll go in. A bit like if you've been watching the R. Kelly story and the documentary. Man, oh man, after watching that documentary, those poor women, you know, and I suspect many more. I suspect, given what I saw, there's probably hundreds of women that are too scared to speak out. Hey, Faye, thanks for popping on to say hello. I suspect there are many more that have, have stories to tell, are probably too scared, feeling too guilty or anything else. So I took to Twitter to voice my opinions just yesterday. I really hope that justice is done. Let's just say that. So the impression that you want to make is a really, or the impact that you want to make is a really important part of your motivation. Okay, because if you don't know why you're doing something, then it makes it hard. It could be your big why, it could be a collective why, but make sure that you have that clear in your mind, even if you just take a couple of minutes before you start a task that's related to it. And then being able to verbalise it and articulate it. You know, when, like me, you're others driven, you need to be able to communicate in a way that others get it, others hear it, others understand what you're talking about. And, you know, nowadays people are calling it in business storytelling. But you know what? I call it articulation. I'm going to call it for what it is, because, yes, there is an element of storytelling, but there's also an element of being able to convey your message so that other people get it. And as I said in last week's Monday Motivation, there is no such thing as failure, only feedback. If every time you're speaking to people, they're saying, oh, but you're too abrupt or you're too sharp, don't take that as offensive. Take that as feedback. The world is telling you that when you speak, it comes across as aggressive or too much. It gives you the opportunity to take that information and think, how can I do this differently? You know, if one person in a gazillion tells you that, then it's an opinion. But if you keep hearing the same messages coming back, then take notice of it and look at, and if you, especially if you don't want the thing that people are telling you, then there's something to do. If you're like, yeah, I like being harsh and I like being abrasive when I speak, then that's fine. Nothing for you to change there, you know, you're getting the results that you want. So make sure you do that. The next thing that I see is, like, energetically, we have a crisis and people think that we are money poor in this day and age. And I absolutely, I'm not going to disagree wholeheartedly, because I know that there's some people that are. The biggest problem we have as a society is that we cram so much into our time. We're really time poor. So having a look at how we can lay out our lives, the things that we can do in our lives, will make the biggest difference to us. And one of the things that it seems, and it's funny for a visibility specialist and a person that does an exec coaching, you know, for the people that kind of the new intake that I had in December and January, the biggest pieces of feedback, like within hours of having their session, is they feel less anxious, they feel more calm about things, and they're getting much better sleep. Okay. So there are just a couple of little steps before that, and in order to harness your energy, you know, one of the things of the busy business owner is that we go to bed far too late. So start getting up earlier so that you can go to bed earlier. If you find that you are, getting up early and going to bed late, then you're stretching your day out and probably not serving yourself. And even though people will tell me, oh, I can get by on 4 hours sleep, I can get by on 5 hours sleep, the human body wasn't designed that way. So what is happening is you're going through a form of very slow sleep deprivation. Then you wonder why when you go to do the task you're feeling less motivated. Sleep has got a big part of it, as is drinking water. Drinking enough water will definitely make a difference. She says as she reminds herself to drink. And then finally, there's how we are in the world. How do we present ourselves out in the world? And again, this is important for motivation, because if we haven't decided this, we don't know whether we want to go out and be like a comedian, a guru, very serious, very studious, very fun-loving. And all the world feels and all the people outside of us feels is this scattered energy. So the true piece behind this is not don't be scattered, it's completely up to you. The true piece behind this is this. Who do you want to be right here, right now? Who are you being and who are you becoming? A stack of 3 questions. If you miss those questions, so I've got hiccups now, drinking the water too quickly, go back to those questions. Who are you now? Who do you want to be and who are you becoming? You know, these behavioural based questions will drive you more forward, more motivated in a way that's important to you. It stops the comparisonitis, it stops you comparing people, it stops all of that. So just before I finish off, and Celeste says sleep is so important, and that is so true. I am working on something that I know is going to benefit a lot of people in the world at a very, very great and in affordable way. So if you haven't already gone to thequeenofbeingseen.com, not jennykovacs.com, but thequeenofbeingseen.com, race on over there now. Get yourself on the VIP wait list, and as soon as this stuff comes out, you will know about it first. I am going to be officially launching it throughout the end of March and April, but for those people that are in my inner circle already, you're going to get to know a bit more about it. And it's very different to a lot of the stuff I see out there. In fact, it's very different to a lot of the stuff that I myself have put out there. And I'm excited about it because it's a really great way for you to stand out in the world, in your way, but also as a collective of people to be able to stand out in a way and own your brilliantness, if that is such a word, and your brilliance. So I'm really excited about it. That's all I'm going to say about it for now. But for those of you that are in my inner circle and those of you that are in the Vibes Tribe, you'll hear a little bit more. The inner circle will hear more. So make sure you go to thequeenofbeingseen.com and you'll see a page where you can just enter your email address and be added to that list. And as soon as that comes, that's ready and available, I'll let you know. But actually, for those of you on the wait list and those of you in the inner circle, I'm actually going to be letting you know little bits about what I'm doing in the forthcoming weeks, because that's what you're about. You're my inner circle. You get a peek behind the scenes and you get to know what's going on as and when. So I'm really, really curious now in terms of all of that stuff I shared about Monday Motivation, or on this Monday Motivation. There will be things that maybe resonated, things that were reminders, or something where you thought, you know what, this is really where I need to put my focus. And it might have seemed a bit strange. Even when I write these and produce these myself, I think, for mine, this was water. I know that I could drink a lot more water than I do, and even I forget. So my motivation, which sounds weird for this week, is how can I drink more water? I'm working on this exciting project. I've got a gazillion lot of speaking gigs that are coming up for me, starting in the next few weeks, from International Women's Day to speaking at a conference where there is a kind of a very well-known Jamie Foxx guy who's speaking there. He knows a thing or two about mindset and motivation, let me tell you, given the life that he's had. So there are lots of things that I'm excited about doing, I'm motivated to do. Now imagine this luxury problem. You've got 3 or 4 things that you're excited to do. It's like, which one do I do first? Yes, do I do it against my timeline? Well, this thing needs to be completed first. Do I mix it up? Do I scatter my energy? See, so I will go back through these 5 pieces, and 6 if you count the bonus piece, and I will have a look at how I can show up and how I can do this. And the thing that I will say is that the stuff that I'm working on at the moment, there's a lot of, let me give you some information out there on how to do something. And what I'm recognising is most people want community, they want how-tos, they want accountability, but actually when it comes to doing the thing, that can be overwhelming and that can be distracting. So in this new thing that's coming out, you will be able to see my process. You'll be able to see, how do you put a talk together for a compliance conference of 300, 400 people? What do you put in the talk? How do you know what to take out? You'll get to see all of that. You'll get to see a kind of I want to say a synopsis almost. At the end of it, I always ask myself the question, what would I do differently next time? And that includes a load of errors that I don't want to make again. I'll share those with you. I'll share why I class them as errors, and what I'll do about them next time. I'll also share the stuff that works really well. And the reason that I do that is because I know that for so many of us, we get a lot of the, last year I did this thing, it went wrong, it didn't help, and that doesn't actually motivate us as much as it previously may have done. So I kind of want to open up like the back door and say, look, this is what goes on behind the scenes, so that you can add to it, learn from it. Some of you will be like, well, you know, like, Ian, I'm an expert on this. Jenny, had you have done this, this and this, it would have been different. And I want the people within that circle to be able to share their expertise with the community. So I would say it's one of the first community-based groups where not only do you get to see things from me and other very special people that I bring into it, but you get to showcase your own expertise too. So there's no waiting to be spotted, because that's not what visibility is about. Anyway, enough of that. I'm really excited about that. Thank you so much for joining me. I will continue drinking water, don't you worry. I know how important it is. Yeah, you know, I'm not perfect myself, so I'm working on that. Let me know in the comments below which of the thing you're going to take and run with. And if I see you posting, I'm going to do this, going to do this, going to do this, I'm going to ask you to peel it back, and out of those things that you want to do, which is the thing that's going to make the biggest difference. Now, if you're in the Vibes tribe, by all means, go in there and do a video or a post or something, entitle it Monday Motivation, and share with us what you're motivated to do. If you're already in my inner circle, I really want to encourage you to give a few moments thought into what's most important. If it's not even for this week, if it's just for today or this morning, then go in there and share with the people around you. Just a very short, here's what I'm committed to today. And if that changes tomorrow, that's fine, but at least go through that thought process. But most importantly, please don't keep this a secret. Do share it with people. I can tell you from the amount of people that are coming and are expressing to work with me, sometimes through the visibility filter, and they just want more sleep, more time, less stress, that this is needed, this message is needed. So don't keep me a secret. Please do share this, even if you've never shared anything of mine before. Thank you so much for getting up and watching this live, and thank you for watching this on the replay. Lots of love to you. Bye for now.